Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today, we are talking about on serving the needs of the narcissistic parent. On serving the needs of the narcissistic parent. Now, for those of you all who need a little fresher of what narcissism is, we are going to go over that definition, and then we're going to get into serving the narcissistic parent and why it is unhealthy. Narcissism is the pursuit of gratification from vanity or egotistic admiration of one's own attributes. The term originated from the Greek mythology, where the young narcissus fell in love with his own image reflected in a pool of water. Now, we have seen that some individuals have been victims of narcissism, and we have most likely listened to their audio or watched their video on YouTube and elsewhere. The definition that I read came from Wikipedia. However, I do want to give two other pieces of information from Mayo Clinic as well as from Psychology Today, since these two sources are very reputable. In the Mayo Clinic website, the narcissistic personality disorder is one of several types of personality disorders. It is a mental condition in which people have an inflated sense of their own importance, a deep need for excessive attention, okay? The key here is excessive, not periodic, not occasional, but excessive attention and admiration, troubled relationships, and a lack of empathy for others. So these people are cold-hearted, they are callous, they don't feel like others feel. They're not going to respond or react in a way that most people would to a circumstance or to a story that you share or to something disappointing that has occurred. Okay? Behind this mask of extreme confidence lies a fragile self-esteem that's vulnerable to the slightest criticism. So you correct them, you rebuke them, you tell them that what they are saying is not correct or not accurate. You may even show support as to why what they said or did is not factual or right or whatever. They are going to start to behave very mean. They may distance themselves from you. They may call you a name. They may insist on what they believe is right when in fact it's wrong. They are not going to admit that they made a mistake. And so it goes on and on. Yes, these people have a personality disorder, and I have been so advised by people over the years to distance myself, disconnect, separate, divorce, you name it. These are not people who you need to be involved with, okay? And so I took the advice of some individuals, and I'm continuing to work some things out as God leads, okay? We are not going to be passive in situations where narcissism is prevalent, okay? Narcissism has demonic ties, and I've given you in the past the spiritual perspective of this. A narcissistic personality disorder causes problems in many areas of life. And if you are dealing with a parent or grandparent that is like this, it isn't any wonder that your relationship with him or her is suffering. If you are dealing with someone on the job like this, your work might be impacted. If you're dealing with someone at school like this, they may rub off on you in all the wrong ways. And if you have someone in your family with this sort of disorder, they may also impact your finances. Okay? These people with narcissistic personality disorder may be generally unhappy, of course, because we're not buying into their foolish behavior, the things that they want from us or they feel they need or what have you. We are not coddling them. We're not stroking their egos or anything else. So of course, they're going to be unhappy. They don't even do the types of things that are functional and healthy and right for themselves. But yet they want others to do these sorts of things for them. They're disappointed when they're not given the special favors or admiration they believe they deserve. Okay, this is key. Those of you all who have been around these sorts of people, they want favor. They believe that they should be admired. They want to be appreciated, but yet they don't do these things for others. They, once again, are dysfunctional in their thinking. You've got to give in order to get. And they'll say, well, I'm not doing that. Well, you're not getting. It's real simple, right? They may find their relationships unfulfilling, and so they go on to the next person and the next one. They're looking for narcissistic supply from someone or something. Once again, these people have a disorder. We pray for them, but we are not to be those individuals who are going to bend over backwards and service them, okay? And they know that many people, once they spend time with them, don't enjoy being around them either. They know this. Okay. That's why they're always looking for somebody new, somebody different. That's why they will spend a lot of time on the internet as opposed to being out there in the real world, because they know folks will see their flaws. Okay. They, after a while, as they get older, they're not very good actors and actresses any longer. Maybe in their youth, they were able to hide a lot, but as they get older, they don't. Now, these people with this disorder have an exaggerated sense of self-importance. They feel that they should be entitled to things, to people, to places, what have you. They require constant excessive admiration. And if you're a child of God, God will tell you not to give them that. Okay. They expect to be recognized as superior even without achievements, right? What have you achieved in this life? What have you done? What sorts of accomplishments? There is no comparing the apple to the orange. The apple is the apple. The orange is the orange, but yet they want to be compared even when they don't have the achievements to back up too much of anything. They exaggerate things, achievements and talents that they simply don't have. Okay. They typically lie. Okay. They'll lie through photographs. They'll lie through conversation. They'll lie on applications. They'll lie, in conversation. They'll say that they have something when they really don't. There may be things that they've done long time ago, years ago, but they'll act as if they've done them recently. Oh yes. These people are manipulators. They have a preoccupation with fantasies about success and power and brilliance and beauty and their perfect mates and all of this other stuff. And then if you fall short of their fantasy, their perfection in their mindset or so forth, then they want to throw you out. Okay. This is the reality of these people. Even though they don't believe themselves to be that way, they see everybody else as being narcissist when in fact they are the narcissist. That's what's interesting. And then they monopolize conversations when the opportunity warrants itself, and they're going to belittle or look down or judge you. Okay. They expect special favors and unquestioning compliance with their expectations. And when they don't get it, once again, they mark you as an enemy. They take advantage of others to get what they want. They have an inability or unwillingness to recognize the needs and feelings of others. You say, I feel this way. You are making me feel this way. I would like for you to understand where I'm coming from. They don't get it. Their minds go off somewhere. There is no conversation coming from them about feeling. Okay, and they're not acknowledging your feelings, or they may put on an act because you're still new, right? So they're going to act as if they care about you immensely, and then over time that goes away. These are conceited people, even though some of them are not very nice looking at all, but they're conceited and they're boastful about themselves. They're going to pull out the nicer looking picture of themselves, and then in person you're disappointed because they don't look like the picture. Okay. And they are pretentious types of individuals, and they insist on having the best of everything, even though they don't have the money to have the best of everything. But they're going to try to figure out a way to appear as if they got it going on. Okay. They are impatient people. They're angry. They have some interpersonal issues. They often feel slighted, or they just don't forgive easily either. This is something that's not on the website. These are some things that I'm speaking of off the top of my head, that I know from personal experience. These people suffer with depression, even though they'll say that they're not depressed. They are very moody, even though they'll accuse other people of being moody. And then they have all sorts of secret feelings, right? They're secretive types of individuals, and they're insecure and they're jealous and they're shameful about some things. But they're not going to let you know this sort of thing. So they're going to try to hide it. These people do have a history of drug and alcohol abuse. And then once they've kicked that habit, then they've got their other abuses. They may be addicted to porn, or they may be addicted to just all sorts of lustful activities. They may be violent even, okay? Threatening. They may not necessarily hit you, but they sure got ways to try to control you or to scare you as if they're going to do something. So I covered it, okay? I covered a lot of this. Now, when you are the child of people like this, okay, they expect you to serve them. They're going to even drop hints and seeds to tell you what they want from you. I want a car, and my son's going to get me a car. I want a house, and my daughter's going to get me a house. I want this, and I want that. And you are going to pick up on these things, and being that you're the good child, if you're the favorite one, because narcissists do have their favorites, you're going to try to meet the needs of your mommy and your daddy. Now, if you are not the favorite, but you are striving to be the favorite, you are going to do some things. You're going to do some things to be on the right side with daddy and with mommy. Okay? You are going to bend over backwards. I wrote say goodbye to dad, not to badmouth fathers, right? I mean, hey, I am a child of a father who I grew up with. That's not what that book was about. That book was about freeing people out of the chase, the emotional tie that one has to a father who is not emotionally and or physically present. A father who is self-absorbed, a father who is more concerned about getting his needs met. He's not concerned about being that parent that he should be. He has not changed. Okay? He's more about power and control, controlling you, getting you to do what he wants when he wants. You are supply for him. As long as you make him feel good, as long as you make him look good. But then when you are no longer present in his life and you are no longer doing all that he wants you to do, you are not the best child. He may even adopt someone else's child just to fill the void. Uh-oh. You see, and so if I want to be free, I'm going to distance myself. It doesn't matter the title. That's what I love about God. He doesn't care about titles. He says that this person is toxic. This person is keeping you from growing spiritually, mentally, and physically. This person is a hindrance. This person is affecting your marriage, husband, who likes to talk to the narcissistic father, who tends to have his share of emotional and physical wounds from the wife or from his mother or from his father, the one who didn't bother reading and studying and showing himself approved and rather give you the pimp, the player, and the hustler speech. Come on, I'm talking to somebody. You see, that's why the Lord says we are to be very mindful of the company that we keep. But isn't it dishonoring to distance yourself from one's parent? No, it is not when he or she is a child of darkness. We are not even supposed to sit down and break bread with children of darkness. And yes, there are parents who are children of darkness. There are grandparents who are children of darkness. And when a child who does not understand the mechanics, if you will, of a parent or grandparent, they don't know anything about narcissism or any of these personality disorders, they fall prey to these people. But I know though, right? And you may know. And so therefore, what do? You protect the child. Do we tend to have every now and again narcissistic ways about us? Absolutely. But they may be described that way, right? But that doesn't make you that one who has the disorder. Okay. We're talking about people who chronically are self-absorbed and who do things that benefit themselves. We're talking about people who have a serious issue that affects them as well as others, to the point where we even scream out, it's not about you. It's not about you. Everything that somebody writes, everything that somebody talks about, everything that somebody confronts you on is not meant to be taken personally. But what you should be doing is evaluating whether or not you are doing some things that are hindering others in your quest to get your selfish needs and your dreams and so forth accomplished, right? The child is used to serve the adult. The child is used to make the adult feel a certain way. The child is called upon to come over here and fix this, to do this, to be there. And then once the child is used, we no longer need your service, but I would like to see you. See me for what? There's no reason for you to come over here because there's nothing here for you to do. I just want to hang out. I just want to talk. Yeah, you just want to spend my money. What? Okay, yeah, I want to spend your money. No, you definitely can't come over. Right? Oh, Lord Jesus. You see, they safeguard themselves. They safeguard themselves in such a way that their ego is not harmed in any way. If the child is coming over to stroke grandma's ego, then she's good. If the child is coming over to confront grandma on her lies and her cover-ups and her secrets, then she needs to stay right over there with mama until you know the rules. You are not to come over here. Your mama better teach you how to deal with us. Okay? And so the parent, he or she will speak to the child on how you deal with mother, how you deal with father. But what they don't realize is that dysfunction that you're teaching that child is going to affect their personal relationships with others. So if grandmother expects to be stroked, right, her ego, mentally, physically, spiritually, what have you, if grandmother expects you to do whenever called upon, when grandmother says that you are not to speak up and tell her anything that is wrong about her, you are to do that. And then the child goes off into the real world and is very passive, very weak, and is not very assertive. Okay? We're going to go over to psychology today. Once again, there are some signs to look out for when it comes to narcissistic parents, as well as grandparents, as well as step parents. We're calling them all out. A spiritual parent, an adopted parent, a foster parent. God moves on us and prays and moves on us to pray for all of these individuals, but we also have to guard ourselves when the writing is on the wall. Okay? Psychology today says pay attention to when a child is being used by this parent or grandparent, living through one's child. Your childhood wasn't all that great, or you know somebody who didn't have a childhood that was great, so he or she lives vicariously through the children. He always wanted to be a baseball player, so he tells his son, "You're going to be the next Jackie Robinson." Okay? He wanted to be the next Michael Jordan. He didn't make it, so he tells his son, "You're going to practice every single day until you become the next Michael Jordan. But I want to be a doctor. I don't care what you want to be. I'll hurt you if you don't become that basketball player. But it's my life. Look, as long as you living under my roof and around me, it's my life too. Okay, I got to go because this man done lost his mind." You see? There are some things that they say and they do that as a child you can't explain, but as you get older, you realize that mama was controlling my thoughts. She was controlling my emotions. She was the one who had various goals set for me. These goals were designed to make her look good. It wasn't about what I wanted. It was about what she wanted. They dress you up a certain way. They talk to you a certain way. They brainwash you basically into being what they want you to be. Okay? All of these are signs that daddy's sick. He got that baby out there in the cold to be the next football player that he didn't become. Got that boy out there talking, walking football. Meanwhile, if you go back years back, he said that he wanted to be something else. And what did the parent do? He belittled him. He told him, "No, you ain't going to be that." But his body is not built to be like that future football player. He don't have the type of opportunities like A-listers do in order to get in. He doesn't have the discipline, or he has some mental disorders, but yet the father keeps pushing him anyway. Okay? There's something sick about these people. Very sick. And then the one who enables this sort of activity, you got to wonder what's going on in that person's mind. You see, 9 times out of 10, wounded child grows up to become wounded adult and goes along with the programming of that dysfunctional parent. There's the nitpicking, there's the judgment, there's the criticisms that take place with these people. You're never good enough. I can tell you that from personal experience. No matter what you do, no matter how many activities you join, no matter who you know, you're never good enough. That's because they're not good enough. Come on. They have a poor self-image of themselves, so they got to live, once again, vicariously through the children and the grandchildren. They're very conceited, very superficial, very egotistical. They are into the material. A lot of bragging about what they bought. Got to show off their latest purchases. Okay. And then they don't mind the fact that they use and abuse people, stepped on them, talk negatively, badmouth, whatever, grandparents, or not grandparents, but grandchildren, or may have negatively talked about the other grandparents. Okay. Put them down to build themselves up. So there's a lot of grandiosity and superiority that goes on with these people. So when you see this sort of thing, once again, you've got to be guarded. They have a superficial image, right? See, the Lord, he shows us in the scriptures, we're not supposed to be lovers of ourselves, right? We're not supposed to do that. We're not supposed to be boastful. We're not supposed to be braggarts. I mean, 2 Timothy, there's all of these characteristics that we're supposed to safeguard ourselves from. But then if you get around people like this, you find yourself acting that way. And then you take your children and put them in the presence of these people. And you may be guilty of these things. Who knows? Then they are going to mimic your behaviors. And then it's easy for you to see it in them, but not in you, though. You see? So this is why it is so crucial that you see what's going on with a child and then you check it immediately. Oh, no. We don't have these superficial images up in here. Okay, sweetheart, you are not all that in a bag of chips. I know that you've been around your conceited mother, your grandmother, your, great grands or whoever. But here, no, you don't walk around here acting as if your poop, as my grandmother used to say, as if your poop don't smell. You don't do that. Okay. We all have responsibilities in this household. We don't spend too much time in the mirror. Once your face and your hair and everything else is done, that's it. Put a time limit on it, or I'm going to put a time limit on it. You see? Lord Jesus, some of you all, you know how this goes because you live amongst individuals or you grew up in an atmosphere where everybody prided themselves on their physical appearance. Ooh, you look good, even though some folks didn't really look good. But conceited parents, they like to blow up their children, right? And it's like, why don't you lose some weight? Why don't you get some exercise? Why don't you watch what you're eating? Right? But no, that's boo-boo. Boo-boo is good. Boo-boo is great. But boo-boo got health ailments. But superficial parents, they don't see any of it. Okay? They brag about the contacts that they know. You got some grandparents that sit around talking about, I know this one, I know that one. They got to bring, the pictures out of the folks that they took, these celebrities that they took pictures with. Okay. But you don't personally know him. Oh, but I know somebody who knows him. Okay. Then hook my daughter up with a job then. Okay. Hook my son up then with the next opportunity that the NBA offers. And if you know folks all like that, well, I didn't say all that. Of course. Braggarts. Okay. They manipulate you easily and they know how to do it with a smile and they can use the guilt trip. And I saw this done firsthand. A grandparent was using the guilt trip to get us to stay over at her house, even though we didn't want to stay. And then there's the blaming that goes on with some of these people. They're going to blame you for things that you didn't have anything to do with. And then when it is proven that you had nothing to do with it, okay, they're not going to apologize. I remember being blamed for some things. And then it was like, oh, well, okay. But no apology, though. After I cried, after I was upset about it, I didn't take it. I didn't move it. You misplaced it. Even helped them find some stuff. Oh, well, maybe you took it. No, I didn't take it. You laid it here. They shame you. Okay? They don't mind talking about your face. They don't mind talking about how you did with your schoolwork or what have you and how, you shamed the family when you did this or when you did that. They're not looking at the fact that they may have contributed in some way to your, let's say, obsession with this or with that. Oh, I'm telling you, some of these grandparents and parents are very, very narcissistic, very selfish, very much going to go to hell too behind some of the things that they've done and said. Okay, I'm going to be bold about it, because see, the drunkard doesn't go to heaven. We needed to read our Bibles a little bit closer. Drunkards don't go to heaven. If they don't make things right on this side, if they didn't go through that long suffering and went on and accept Jesus and confess their sin and repented before they died, they ended up in hell. We can't make excuses for these people. Okay, they want to use children and abuse children, and they want to tell lies, and they want to cover up this and that and what have you. There is a hell for these people. Okay, they want to allow the demonic to influence them in some way. There is a hell for these people. They put unreasonable pressure and demands. They're strict individuals at times, and they know how to use rewards and punishment to manipulate you to stay on their side, or to do what they want you to do. And if you don't measure up, if you don't do the types of things that they want you to do, then they know how to come up with all sorts of little schemes to punk you, to break you down. These people are very touchy types of folks. You can't say too much without them jumping the gun, saying something. What do you mean by that? Ready to go off on you, ready to curse at you. They're cold-hearted, and they're very strict about their mindset on things. They're inflexible individuals. Okay? It doesn't take much to trigger them. I grew up around these people. Okay? Lots of attitude that goes on with them. When you're on the wrong side, by confronting them, by being honest, by telling them, you told a lie the other day, and what? Excuse me? You don't say that I tell a lie. You don't say that I'm a liar, or whatever else they come up with. They're going to change your words around. And these people are cold-hearted. You're going through something, and they're looking at you with dead eyes sometimes. Cold-blooded individuals. And I tell you that psychology today has it right when they say that when you grow up under this sort of parental or grandparental influence, okay, over time, you're going to respond three ways. And this is what the site says. You're going to either fight back and stand up for yourself. You're either going to take flight and distance yourself from your parents or your grandparents, or you're going to freeze and you're going to substitute your invalidated, I should say, real self with a false persona. You're going to play a role. Some of them will say, I was just playing along. One of my sons said that. He said that I was just playing a role. I was just playing along. That's all. Because he knew that there was a cold-heartedness in the atmosphere that did not acknowledge his feelings, did not take responsibility for one's actions, and even put the blame on him for things that was beyond his control. So this is how the child responds. For some of you all who I've been trying to figure out my child, I've been trying to understand for so long, I'm giving you that insight today in Jesus' mighty name. And thank you, Lord, for leading me here. There's the fight back. I'm not going to keep dealing with this mama. I'm not going to keep dealing with this grandmama. I'm going to stand up for myself. I'm going to leave. I'm not going to put up with this husband or this wife that every time I turn around, there is this disregard for my feelings. Or in order to survive, I'm just going to take on some other personality for now. I'm going to be all that he wants me to be, or I'm going to be all that she wants me to be until I'm ready to leave. Okay? Or until I'm able to get on my feet if this person is underage. Okay, I'll do what you want me to do. Hey, I remember that like it was yesterday. I'll do what you want me to do, sure, because I don't want to get my behind whooped, and I don't want them taking anything from me. So yeah, I'll put on that fake laugh or that excitement or whatever else they want me to do until I get away. Then once I get away, you're going to see the real. You're going to see the real. This is what you did. And they have this uncanny dependence or codependency on their children. And some of you all witness this. Wow, you really depend on her for emotional support, physical support, financial support. She comes over here. She takes care of your bills. She takes care of the household. She watches the younger children. She does everything. She cooks. She cleans. But she has her own life though. She's 20, she's 30, she's 40, she's 50 plus years old. Lord. Oh yeah, these narcissistic parents are something else. And they're jealous and they're possessive. Don't talk about you helping your in-laws. Don't talk about the fact that you are going to get married or you met someone. They're going to figure out a way to wiggle their way into that relationship. They're going to find fault with your partner. It don't matter who it is. You just don't want me to be happy, mama. No, I just don't want you going over there and spending all that time with them. If they're honest, over there with your in-laws. Every time I turn around, I want to talk about your mother-in-law. Oh, yeah. And they're neglectful. Always doing something for themselves. It's things that make them feel good inside. You can come along if you're spending some money. You can come along if you're going to make mama or daddy feel good, or grandma or granddad. So we covered it. We covered it. These are the type of individuals that are looking for service from a child of God. And the child of God is protected by the one true God. So narcissistic parent, narcissistic grandparent, this is why the distance showed up long time ago. This is why that child got tired of having to do this and do that. They caught on to your game. You didn't consider yourself to be narcissistic. You thought you was just being a good parent. But see, it's hard to be that way when your parents and grandparents were that way. See, and it can be that cycle that shows up. You want to nip it in the bud before you start doing the types of things that's going to cause your children and your grandchildren to run away from you. I admit I've been doing some of these things. I've been overly dependent on them. I've been using them. I've been living vicariously through them. I've been using marginalization. Okay. Where that is, let me break that one down. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull out some quotes from Psychology Today. Some narcissistic parents are threatened by their offspring's potential, their promise and success, as they challenge the parent's self-esteem. So the child is doing well, or the grandchild's doing well, but the parent never did accomplish as much, right? So that's why you get the living vicariously types of stuff that goes on. Consequently, a narcissistic mother or father might make a concerted effort to put the child down. So rather than lift them up, you got some of them that's going to put the child down. You're hard-headed, you're no good, you're simple, you're dumb, you're nut job. You see, because they know that they didn't live up to their potential. And they want to remain superior. So no matter how much education you get, no matter who you know, they always got to figure out a way to try to belittle you or bring you down or make you feel as if you don't know what you're talking about. Examples of this type of competitive marginalization includes nitpicking, unreasonable judgment and criticisms, and unfavorable comparisons, invalidation of positive attitudes and emotions, and rejection of success and accomplishments. Okay? There's always something wrong with you. That's what they'll say. Or, no, you can't be as good as me, man. No. Daddy got this. This is my car. This is my house. This is this, that, and the other. Right? That's what marginalization is, and narcissistic parents have it. We went over the grandiosity and superiority, the superficial images, the manipulation, the inflexible and touchy attitude that comes with these folks. They're very rigid types of individuals. They're easily triggered, okay? And they don't like giving children too much attention. And you see that especially at family events. That narcissism shows up. We talked about the lack of empathy, the dependency, the codependency, the jealousy, and the possessiveness, the neglect. All of this sort of stuff shows up. And these have been things that I've experienced. So for those of you all who hear in my messages, sometimes that sadness that shows up, or maybe even that anger, okay? It is because when you have gone through so much, Lord Jesus, and you have to revisit some topics because you're trying to help some others, it does come out sometimes, right? But am I healed? I believe that I am healed in many of these areas, but I'm still a work in progress. And I believe that I won't be completely healed until I am dead and gone. But as long as I got breath in my body to bring awareness to these things that have taken place with myself as well as others, hey, I believe that God blesses us. And for those of you all who expose this sort of thing, he blesses you. So don't be that parent that is looking at these children as narcissistic supply. Okay. They're not here for us to gravitate or pull on or fulfill us in some kind of way. They have a purpose. They have a calling, and God is directing them. The best thing you can do if you don't want to be that enemy one day to your child is to be supportive and learn how to shut your mouth. Hello. Because sometimes they don't want to hear our long talks. Sometimes they don't want to do what we tell them to do. Okay. And that's okay. It's all right. I mean, somebody had to let go of us, right? So, blessings to you. Please do check the description box for anything that is of interest. You've been listening to YouTube NM Enterprise 7. Subscribe today. Also, if you haven't given, we do welcome donations. Thank you, and to God be the glory.